Good evening to one and all. My name is K. Sangeeta. I am a YouTuber and a dancer. I am the award winner of Pride of Chennai, and I am also a public orator and a soft skill trainer. I also have Shreya with me, who is a PVI professional. She is my mentee. She is one of the budding anchors of PVI. Over to Shreya.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am, for the lovely introduction. Namaste, everyone. Namaste, Geeta ma'am.
Good evening.
Namaste,
Good
ma'am.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening to both of you.
Before we start the interview, I would like to give a small brief about the book Beyond Labels, an academic guide for special educators, was co-authored by parents and teachers with the guidance of PVI, making it a collective effort. Dr. Gayatri Narasimhan, when writing her first book, INVAS, recognized the need for expansion. Feedback from special schools indicated that INVAS was used to shape their curriculum, but it required expert textbook. Driven by this, Dr. Gayatri aimed to create a unique and pioneering resource for special education that is set to launch this year. Today, we have Ms. Geeta Souza. She is the co-author of the book Beyond Labels for the chapter Sex Education. She is a compassionate and dedicated teacher by choice with over 12 years of experience in creating inclusive and supportive learning environments for children with diverse abilities. And she lives in Pune. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Sangeeta.
So, the first question, over to Shreya.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. So, Geeta ma'am,
Yes, Shreya.
thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. Good evening, Geeta ma'am. So,
Good
my
evening,
first
Shreya.
question, yeah, good evening, ma'am. So, my first question for today is, as you know, sex education is often considered a sensitive topic, especially for neurodivergent individuals. What approach did you take to ensure your chapter is both informative and practical to follow?
Yes, so sex and sexuality education has historically been taboo topics for most of us. So even in my growing years, we could not discuss this with comfort, even with our parents. So being a very sensitive topic, it needs to be addressed with even more care and caution when it comes to neurodivergent individuals. In order to make it both informative and practical to follow, I have primarily made a conscious effort to use very simple language because I believe the right kind of communication is the key to helping them relate to their body and the different changes that take place during different stages in their life. Since every such individual has different coping mechanisms, I have used a combination of visual, oral, and kinesthetic learning aids wherever required.
Thank you so much, dear Geeta ma'am. That was indeed very informative, and we got to know so much about this topic. So,
Thank you.
over to Sangeeta ma'am to proceed with the next question.
Thank you, Shreya. One major concern parents have is how to introduce sex education at different ages. Does your chapter provide a structured way to approach this?
Yes, Ms. Sangeeta. This book is divided into 5 stages. So we started right from early childhood, that is 0 to 6 years, went on to middle childhood, your preteens, teens, and then the advanced level, which takes care of adulthood, 20 to 25 years of age. So the book has gradually touched upon the various challenges they may encounter during their growing years because each age has different challenges that they come across. So when we consider neurodivergent individuals, we must also keep in mind that there is a variation in their chronological age as compared to their developmental age. So yes, the book has tried to consider these aspects as well. In addition to age-specific guidelines that have been suggested, tips for parents and caregivers would be to approach these conversations with confidence and sensitivity. Because most importantly, we need to start at a very early age, have open and honest conversations with our children, answer their queries to the best of our abilities, and if required, ask for help from professionals. So, what I believe is positive and continuous communication with our children is the key factor here.
That was amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, next question, we move on to Shreya.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am. So my next question to you, ma'am, is that sex education isn't just about biological concepts. It also involves emotional understanding and social awareness. So how does your chapter help neurodivergent individuals to navigate relationships, trust, and personal safety?
Okay, this is an excellent question, Shreya. Sex education isn't just about biological concepts, it goes much beyond that. So, we need to help our neurodivergent individuals cope with their emotional understanding, social awareness, and how to handle these various relationships they encounter in their day to day life. In order to gain trust, you need to be more approachable. You need to observe and listen before you actually act on any remedial suggestions. So, the book has definitely kept these aspects in mind. It has covered topics like understanding social norms, setting personal boundaries, and teaching them to be more assertive, helping them recognize signs of abuse, manipulation, or exploitation, and providing resources for seeking help and support. Practicing self care, which is really very important because what we see is our individuals are very vulnerable, very uncertain, and most often self blame themselves. So we need to protect them from this situation. So, developing healthy communication skills will help navigate relationships with more confidence.
Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am, uh, for sharing such valuable insights. So now over to Sangeeta ma'am to continue with the next question.
Thank you, Shreya. Many caregivers hesitate to talk about this subject, fearing it might be confusing or unnecessary. How does your chapter help them start these conversations in a comfortable way?
Yes, many caregivers hesitate to talk about this subject, not knowing exactly how to approach it. When is the right time? What is the right age? A lot of such questions would come in their mind. So, this book provides guidance and reassurance to the caregivers, helping them initiate these conversations in a comfortable and confident way. So, reassuring them that it's absolutely normal and necessary part of supporting our neurodivergent individuals. Encourage them to be more approachable, open minded, receptive to questions and feedback from our neurodivergent individuals. Thus, by addressing these caregivers' concerns, providing practical tips and strategies, and emphasizing the importance of creating a supportive environment, we can empower them to initiate conversations about sex education with more confidence and sensitivity.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you. Next question, we move on to Shreya.
Ma'am, so what was the most surprising or challenging part of writing this chapter?
Surprisingly, I thought I knew it all when I started off. But what I realized is there is so much more than what meets the eye. Once I started my research, I realized the complexities and challenges of the different age groups we were considering here. My first hand experience, of course, was being a mother to a neurodivergent individual. So that was of great help. And in my many years of teaching experience, coupled with my motherly instincts helping similar individuals, gave me insight to different personalities that I came across in these numerous students that I had. So my research involved getting a lot of help from parents, caregivers, my mentors, friends, professionals, and special educators dealing with neurodivergent individuals. So this helped ensure that the chapters are very comprehensive, sensitive, and accurate.
Thank you so much, Geeta ma'am. That was really a very thoughtful response. So, over to you, Sangeeta ma'am, to continue with the last question of the day.
Thank you. What is one common myth about sex education that you think should be corrected?
Okay, so a common myth I have come across is sex education encourages sexual experimentation. However, research shows that it actually delays sexual initiation because of the awareness that it creates. Sex education programs for adults that cover topics like condom and contraceptive use have actually led to an increased use of contraceptives among young adults. It reduces the sexually transmitted infections and unintended pregnancies, and it develops healthy and respectful relationships as well. So this myth basically persists because of certain misconceptions, because people believe that it focuses only on the sexual act, which is actually not true. It is more than that. It also takes into consideration relationship between two individuals, their compatibility, communication, and consent, which is very, very important. So in order to correct this myth, it is very important to raise awareness about the comprehensive nature of sex education, which covers more than just the sexual act. Highlight the importance of consent, communication, and respect in all relationships, which is very critical. So, to conclude this book that I have been writing, was giving it a very thoughtful and inclusive approach with an effort to create a valuable resource that provides neurodivergent individuals and their caregivers with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to navigate relationships, sexual health, and consent. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really wonderful having you on for this interview. We are grateful to have you on this session.
Thank you so much.